welcome to another edition of The Law and You and the Law. Today we'll be discussing another important issue: judgment and, of course, justice. Here with me, a renowned lawyer.
Well, good day, viewers. My name is Isiaka Abiola Olagunju. I'm a legal practitioner based in Ibadan, but of course with license to practice in the Federal Republic of Nigeria and some Commonwealth states too. I happen to be the immediate past General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association under the leadership of Mahmoud Sen.
They arrested me for no just cause. Now they arrested me for no just cause. They have stolen my phone. And my phone has been kidnapped. My sister has sleep no more. They took me now. We see how that place. Give me side. Enter.
Unanimously agreed that there is an injustice. Yes. And what we are saying is that please, can the law court review this injustice? Have you noticed so? Anybody come here to make wahala? No! Anybody come here to fight? No! Is this not a peaceful protest?
There's no way you're going to incriminate someone, based on something that is not even written down in any law. There's no law in this country that criminalizes the word revolution. So there's no point we having a prolonged case with the detention of Omoyele Sowore with stringent bail conditions based on the use of lexicons. So I don't think, we're a serious nation. I don't think we even have a judiciary that functions. Because if we do, this kind of case should not even stay 25 minutes in a court before it's thrown out. So the question of stringent bail conditions should not even arise, because which law are we looking at here? What is the term of reference of this?
Today we want to discuss a very burning issue. The common man out there in Nigeria and, of course, in Africa as a whole believes that to get judgment, you have to have a lot of money. And we want to talk about this. Judgment and justice. Do we really have justice in Nigerian legal system? What is judgment and what is justice?
Well, we look at the dictionary meaning of judgment. The judgment is an aggregate of opinion or decision as decided by a judge or a magistrate, as the case may be. While justice means righteousness, to be just, something that is equitable, something that is fair. That is the meaning I can give it to it. And then to your next question, whether there is justice in the Nigerian legal system, I think there is justice. It's just it depends on the divide that you belong. And we also need to understand the peculiar circumstances of this country, the structure of this country, everything about this country. I can say that the road to justice may be very slow in this country, but certainly it is very certain. You can see some notable decisions given by our justices from the High Court, from the Court of Appeal, from the Supreme Court. Let me give you something that a novel one that when it occurred. It was the impeachment proceeding of Governor Rashid Ladoja, who happened to be the former governor of Oyo State, where some numbers of House of Assembly members allegedly impeached the governor. Of course, it was something that was novel that never happened in this country before. We are without, because when you are impeach a governor, a deputy governor, you must have a minimum of 2/3 members of the House of Assembly to impeach a governor. But less than 2/3 members of the House of Assembly members at that time impeached the governor, and the matter was taken up from the High Court to Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, because they look, what you have done was wrong. What you have done was very wrong. And Supreme Court had to reinstate Colonel back after about 11 months. I can say that is judgment and justice. So, and there are several cases like that. I've done quite a number of cases like that where even at the beginning somebody was convicted and was asked to be hanged for an offense he believed he not commit. And when I met the man told me, confided me that, lawyer, I did not commit this offense. I said, well, if you don't commit the offense, let's see how it goes. And the matter was taken up. At the end of the day, to God be the glory, we were able to save him from the hangman's noose. So to me, that is also justice and judgment. So it depends on the divide that you belong to and circumstances that surround that decision. You know that it is judgment and justice, but saying it emphatically or generally that there is no justice or judgment in Nigeria, no, I think it's wrong. There is judgment, there is justice in Nigeria, but it depends on the circumstances of each case.
If you go out there on the street and you talk to someone that, do you think you can get justice from Nigerian legal system? He will tell you no. Majority of them will say it's all about how much money I have in my pocket before I get judgment, but not justice. Now, how do we change this myopic, I'm calling it myopic opinion about the common man on the street? And secondly, sometimes justice is actually being delayed, and my warrant people not to, further to get this justice. What do you think can be done towards getting justice, and when do we actually get justice?
Well, you have asked me 3 questions in one, so I need to try and separate it so that our viewers can understand. We'll start by saying that the opinion of a common man on the street. Well, opinion of the common man on the street is very vital, but we must be very, very careful that there's a difference between law as it is and law as it ought to be. Law as stipulated, justice or judgment as stipulated by the law, by the legislation, what the law says. The duty of the court is just to interpret the law and apply it to the fact. It is different from morality. Justice is more like morality. So, and sometimes a litigant may feel that he hasn't got justice, probably because the decision is immoral and it's not in his favor. But that's not what the law says. What the law says is that the court must apply the provision of the legislation of the law. It may be that it may not be, the person concerned may see it as something that is unjust. But that's it. I will give you a very, very vivid example. There's a law against street hawking. Everybody knows that because that law is there, it's been there since 1940 something, under the criminal code, that you cannot walk on the street. But you look at the pattern of our society, the level of poverty in our society. How many people can afford to rent shops? How many people are the shops even available? Now somebody that is drawn because of poverty and lack of means go into the streets and start walking on the street, and the person is arrested and the person is convicted. Of course, you may feel that this is unjust. I had to hawk because I want to make a living. But now the law says I cannot hawk, and the person has been arrested and convicted. You may feel that he hasn't got justice, but that's judgment. That's what the law says. Cannot change that. The judge cannot say because the person has not eaten or the person is poor and is found wanting walking on the street and he's let off the hook. No, that's not judgment. Let's look at the second circumstance we have in the world now, the COVID-19 experience that we all live, which is global. there's a law. Some time ago, before now, there were decision or regulation from the federal government that everybody should be on lockdown. You see that quite a number of people were at home. They were hungry. They were hungry because they need to go out before they can earn their living, and they were at home. Now you don't say because you are hungry, you are poor, you now go somewhere else, you go and steal, and you are arrested. Of course, the justice of the case is that, oh, this man is poor, that's why he goes out to steal. But the judgment is that the law is that whoever steals must be convicted. I hope you appreciate the two issues. Then, talking about the delay in the justice sector, I confirm that there is delay in the sector, but things are quite improving, in all fairness to them. And we also need to appreciate the conditions of service of these justices everywhere. See, many of them still write in longhand. Many of them still conduct their researches themselves, and they do so many things by themselves. Of course, that's one of the reasons that causes delay. Unlike what we have abroad, that there are stenographers, there are copiers, there are everything. They have digitalized everything. But this country, we are still operating analog system. So in a way, that also delays justice. You can't imagine somebody sitting in the same place writing judgment for hours. Of course, it will take time for him to write judgment. He will go back to his chambers to read what he has written before he read. But if there were digitalization of our justice system, what he needs just to play the argument of both sides and form his opinion and decide easily. So, but in all fairness, no matter what anybody says, I think I agree that justice is slow. Things are getting delayed, but there is the improvement on what we used to have. Now sometimes ago, the Chief Justice of Nigeria rolled out a directive concerning speedy trial of some cases, particularly the criminal matter, cases on corruption, cases on rape, and some other cases like that. And they have said they have reduced the time. Initially, within maybe 5-7 years, you still be, but now it's not possible. Everything between from the High Court to the Supreme Court, you may not even spend more than 1 year in some cases. Political cases, rape cases, depending on the capacity or capability of the counsel who are involved.
Now, if you're still there, it is Law and You, where we're discussing the issue of judgment and, of course, justice. Barrister Olagunju have been able to tell us that even in Nigeria, we have justice. And he is also talking about justice. It's something that can be realized. And the legal system is doing something very important towards making sure that there is no justice delayed. Now, Barrister, which aspect do we put people that have been murdered and our security agencies could not unravel them, not to talk of being able to bring them to justice? An example of somebody also a great Nigerian in the legal profession, and that is late Bolaigi. Up till tomorrow, we have not been able to get anybody that will be prosecuted as regards to his death.
Well, everything borders on the structure of the justice sector. You know, the justice sector has some components. We start from the investigation, that's the police. From investigation to prosecution, then from prosecution to judiciary. It's quite disheartening that today our police, I won't blame the police for anything in this country, because I happen to know that some of them are quite they are quite honorable, and they are really doing work within the limit of their capacity. Assuming now you want to do printing, scanning of everything, all those everything, you have to do it analog. I think there is only one place in Nigeria now that you can do that, because there is no equipment. And the challenge we have is this: until when we have what they call community policing, we may also continue to have these challenges of delay in everything. Like what happened abroad now. If a crime occurs, it's very easy. What they need to do is just to gather evidence of thumbprint in that area, and they will analyze it, and they will definitely get the person. I read about a week or 2 weeks ago, somebody that committed an offense 40 years ago, and they were on him, and he was he located to another state. 40 years after, he was arrested because of their own records. But we don't have any proper record system in the country. Look at our NIMC project, Nigerian electrical project. Since about just a has been there, what have you achieved? How many? I don't know which whether you have it. How many of us? So the stage is slow, notwithstanding, but I don't put everything on police or the judiciary. It's a collective challenge, and we must solve it. It's a structural problem.
Let's put it to you. With this scenario, don't you think the Nigerian justice system has failed?
Actually, I disagree with that. I disagree with the Nigerian system, but no, the justice system in Nigeria has not failed, and it's not failing. It may not be up to our aspiration of what it ought to be, but with collective support from the government, even from the people, things will surely improve. I've told you there are quite a number of landmark cases that our judges have delivered, and in order to, even not because of our judges, this country may not be. This country would have been totally collapsed. A lot of they are not in the circumstances they find themselves. They are trying, and I want to commend our justice system, our judiciary. They are trying. You have to try everything. There are so many issues. You go to go and see how the condition of service of the start from the registry up to the court. You see the condition of service. It's appalling. And within that limit of resources and what they are doing now, I think they deserve commendation or condemnation. I'm not saying that all is perfect. That is not what I'm saying. We don't have a perfect situation on hand now, but there are room for improvement. But to say that they are failed, no, I disagree totally.
On a final note, it's still the law and you, when we are talking about judgment and justice. Barrister, what would be your advice for this aspect, the people in charge of justice system in Nigeria, towards making Nigerians having justice at all times?
Well, I'll just say it. I'll go back to what the Constitution says. Constitution guarantees the independence of the judiciary, but that is in that's not in practice, so to say. The judiciary of this country is not that independent as it used to be. They still need to rely on the funding from the executive. Until recently, when there is an order from the federal government that all the judiciary must have their funding directly from the social fund. You see a judge, you see G of a state, you see how to go cap in hands to beg the governor for so many things. But I hope that the directive given by the current President Buhari, that the governors will abide by it. Essentially, what we need is funding of the judiciary, truly independent judiciary. That's what we need. If a judiciary is independent, you don't need to look at the legislature or the executive for survival. I'm sure things will improve. That because, for example, let me give an example now. In some states, they want to appoint judges, but because they lack funds, there's no funds to buy vehicles, to get them houses. They still need to go back to the executive for assistance, which is wrong. If the judiciary has own line, since the constitution has provided for their own line of funding from the constitution, what is necessary now is that thing should be implemented. If it's implemented, they don't need to go cap in hands for any executive for survival, and things will surely improve.
Now, your advice for the members of the public as regards to getting justice in Nigeria for themselves in this great country, Nigeria, and of course in Africa as a country.
Viewers, I consider that things may be very slow. I consider that, but things are actually improving, and I only say that the road to justice may be very slow, but it is very, very certain. we shouldn't lose hope at all, because whether we like it or not, we don't have any other place to go. And it's our collective responsibility to ensure that things improve in this country and things work in this country. By God's grace, we'll get there.
This is where we'll be coming to the end of this program for today. The Law and You. It's been a wonderful time with you. Till we'll come your way again, we want to say bye for now. Thank you and God bless you indeed.